Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We're kicking things off with football. Randy Harris has been re-elected for a fourth term as president of the Barbados Football Association after defeating his challenger, Omari Eastman, 37-30 at Sunday's annual general meeting. Harris, the current Caribbean Football Union president, has been at the helm of Barbados football since 2012. He will have Fabian Wharton, Al Walcott and Ashton Chapman as his vice presidents. Here's a look at the full BFA board. The executive board members, Tracia Ford, Ren Ramsey, Simeon Alsop, O'Brien Smith, and Shanika Estwick to go with the vice presidents. And of course, Randy Harris as the big boss. Harris, the BFA president, now joins us live on Zoom. Randy, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. We haven't spoken to you in a while. We had hoped to speak to you before the elections, but you weren't available for that chat. Let me start by congratulating you on a fourth term winning here for the BFA top spot. Can I ask you first, Randy, if the support that came through for Omari Eastman, 30 out of the votes of 67 going his way, was it surprising to you that he got so much support?
Not really. I must say he carried a pretty good campaign. And unlike me, he's a youngster. He knows how to use the social media very well. And I think it worked for him.
Yeah. Can you talk to us? Because there are a lot of, well, as you just mentioned, he campaigned heavily. He had appeared on the Zone here several weeks ago, and he criticized the BFA administration as a group that was lacking in plans. And he, having been a part of your executive for a period, said he was intimately involved with the process, and by his assessment, he was disappointed that there wasn't an administrative etiquette that displayed plans and something solid. And obviously, he got a lot of support with that. How would you have assessed your past tenure, and how would you like to improve on that? Because it is obvious that you were strongly challenged for this spot.
Well, we had a mission from 2012. At first, we didn't know how we would complete this mission, but there is a peculiar situation in Barbados where we don't have a national stadium. So our priority was to have at least one venue that we can play matches at a pretty high level and be able to be okayed by both FIFA and CONCACAF to play our regional international games. That has been the mission. And we are still continuing. We have done quite a bit here. I think you know a bit about it. And we are trying to complete it. Now, while we are doing that, there are a number of programs going on. We have the FIFA Talent Development Scheme, which has just started. We also have our under 14 boys and girls in training. We have a program with the government, a government BFA program, and it comes under the National Peace Program, where we go into communities and where we are going to go into communities and work with players and youngsters from these communities. We also have trained over 90 coaches in Barbados under CONCACAF. And we are doing many things to keep football up and running. The point is that there has been a period where our local top league has been not at the standard that we had expected it to be. And we have some issues here with the clubs, players not training as they should, not enough players training at the highest level. And that is a big problem if we want to perform at an even higher level when it comes to regional and international.
Yeah, Randy, you just referenced the inactivity from the National Stadium perspective? Because the National Stadium at Waterford has been down now for a very long time. And I gather that in the past week, there has been a lot of reference to the poor returns for Barbados at the recently staged Carifta Games in Grenada. Only 5 medals for Barbados, significantly below what they're accustomed to having. And the point was made that the absence of a national stadium affected that as well. You just referenced the absence of a national stadium affecting football. But is that in itself a strong enough explanation for Barbados's weak football performances in the past 6 or 7 years?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that the national stadium is the primary reason. What I am saying is that the BFA had to concentrate on having their own facility while the government is working to have the national stadium on track. I say this because if we did not have the vision to start the project here, and it's a FIFA forward project, we wouldn't really have any place proper to play our games. And, until we have a proper facility that we can invite people here, that we can accommodate regional tournaments and stuff, I see that affecting the standard of football. And it is no quick fix. Some people believe that they have a magic wand, but there will be no quick fix to Barbados football. We are working seriously with the juniors, our under-20 squad. Although they did not qualify, they showed that they have the reason to compete. And we are hoping that we can work on them for the near future.
Yeah, we're just looking at some footage there, Randy, of Barbados playing Nations League football. These are away matches, and we recognize that Barbados had to play away matches because there was no FIFA-sanctioned facility that could host matches for Barbados in international football. Donald?
Yeah, Ms. Harris, congratulations on a fourth term. You've been in office for about 12 years now.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to know your mindset in terms of the presidency that you've held over a decade. Is the sport difficult to grow in Barbados?
Could you repeat the question for me?
Is the sport difficult to grow in Barbados?
Is it difficult to grow in Barbados?
To grow in Barbados. Is it difficult to grow the sport of football in Barbados?
I don't think so. I think we need to do more, and we need to do it together, because you see, in the Caribbean, we have a bit of a problem in that people tend to want to pull down instead of coming and assisting and moving in a unified way. I don't know what the problem is, but there are people in Barbados who can assist us in football, but instead of coming and helping us to work towards the goal that we all like to achieve, they tend to want to pull down the administration. It is not only a Barbados thing, it is a Caribbean thing. And the other thing is that we tend to malign the characters of leaders. And this does nothing for the football, nothing at all. If we were behaving untoward in Barbados, I mean, we won't be here. And the clubs, the member clubs, they won't have confidence in us at all. The thing is that we have to work together to lift the image and integrity of the game, so that we can work together to achieve all goals.
Mr. Harris?
The problem is that we seem to have opposition football parties in Barbados and the Caribbean.
Mr. Harris, forgive me, but I just want to be clear on this subject that you've brought up, right, in terms of the lack of cooperation. Could you give me an example where that has sabotaged your vision for football in Barbados?
Well, the vision is, if you listen carefully and see the comments in Barbados, I think that people believe that the FIFA Forward funds can be spent in any manner that the associations would love to do. That may have been a situation prior to 2016. We can only do what FIFA and us agree to do. And there have to be priorities. If they're not priorities, we will run ourselves in trouble. We have a strategic plan, which we are following. And basically, I am trying to set a platform for the future of football in Barbados.
In terms of the private sector, though, because I know that you need to sell them your plans in order for certain things to come to fruition, what is that relationship like, and why has there been a lack somewhat to get their participation to see other goals in Barbados football?
Yeah, the problem in Barbados is, as I was saying, the perceived integrity of the organization. Don't forget, everybody has friends. They have people who have confidence in them. And basically, sometimes we get some negative things going out in public that are not necessarily true because they go out in public without having any discourse with any official of the BFA. And I think that affects the way that corporate Barbados looks at the Football Association at the moment.
But at the same time, sir, you do have a powerful voice as president of the BFA, so why haven't you been able to mitigate against that?
Well, we are always trying. We are always trying. As I say, if you're really interested in football and there's a problem or a perceived problem, I believe that it can be discussed with the president and the general secretary or any member of the board, but I've seen in recent times a situation which does not augur well for football and its integrity as a game.
Yeah. Randy, you would accept that the poor performance of your national teams went a long way in the football fraternity in Barbados losing confidence in your administration, currently ranked 177th in the world, one of the lowest rankings in your entire history. And your 9-0 loss to Trinidad and Tobago in March 2022 was your joint biggest loss ever in the history of Barbados's football. I heard you suggesting that it is not the BFA's responsibility to develop footballers. That's the club's responsibility. But admittedly, President Harris, the BFA has to set a platform, a developmental platform, and an infrastructure from the standpoint of facilities to facilitate the development of footballers.
Yes, I don't agree with you because we have been having programs from the time we came into office. We have been, the first time Barbados have been having organized programs for youngsters at the BFA level. But I'm saying to you that we have clubs who are around for many years. And they are the first people who deal with the players. We still have national players who cannot cross a ball, who cannot defend the ball, right? And basically, we can't learn those things at 28 and 26. We have to deal with those things from infancy. And that is where the problem is. The clubs have to develop players.
I understand that, Randy, but it still boils down to what the responsibilities of the BFA would be, because if it is that the country's football results continue to decline, the BFA cannot divorce itself from those happenings.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, there are programs going on all the time.
Yeah, but they aren't working. They aren't working.
If
they aren't working, so I'm suggesting that even if you're putting things in place to improve the football, if it isn't working, as Omari Eastman had said on our show a couple of weeks ago, that if you have a plan and it isn't working, you have to revisit the plan and do something else. So I'm suggesting that while you are saying that you have instituted developmental programs, the fact is we aren't seeing the fruits of it. So you can't just keep doing the same thing and expect the same results.
Well, we have been
different
changing
results.
the plan. We have been trying different things. And really and truly, at this time, I really don't see how we could improve just like that. I mean, I don't know if Omari has a magic wand, but we have the same people playing. What we are doing is looking to build for the future.
Yeah. So the next step then is you've gotten your mandate to continue as the president. I recognize that if you had lost, I'm not sure if the CFU would have remained with you as the president of the CFU, because an election is due next year, isn't it? Are you interested in returning as the CFU president next year?
Well, I would decide that a little later. As you know, I am not really great at the politics. I think that was one of the reasons that I declined coming earlier before the elections. I don't really like the theater. So I would decide, and I know that my members will help me decide whether I would go another round in the
CFU. Just one more thing. The makeup of your executive, there's been a huge shakeup. A lot of your executives are not there, and there are a lot of new names in the current executive voted in from the Congress yesterday. What is your feeling about that and the impact this new group may have on the football in the country?
Well, I just think that if the new executive concentrate on football, all of them have talents that they can bring to the table. I don't see any problems at all. I can only see improvements. So that is what I'm expecting from them.
And as well, I just want to also ask about your aspirations as well in terms of maybe in CONCACAF. I know that you said that you're not thinking about the CFU presidency going back for it again, but in terms of at the CONCACAF level, did you have any aspirations there?
Well, I was just elected president in 2019. 2020, 2023. So I am there to serve until 2027. That is a matter for, obviously, the president of CONCACAF will have some say in the matter because obviously his vice presidents have to be people that he trusts and that he thinks he can work with. But right now, I am serving as CONCACAF vice president until 2027.
All right, Randy, great talking to you here on the SportsMax Zone. I know that the football public in Barbados is looking forward to some improvement over the next tenure of the BFA under your leadership. And we wish you all the best, and we hope to see Barbados football rise again.
Okay, thank you, Lance, and thanks for having me here.
Yeah, Randy Harris there, newly re-elected president of the Barbados Football Association for a fourth term.
It's interesting, and we were having a discussion off camera in terms of how Bajans view football and if they have a similar passion towards the game, and if there is a reason as to why we don't see so much accountability of this association. I want to know your thoughts, because obviously you lived in Barbados for quite a few years.
Yeah, well, Barbados is a cricket place. I mean, the football appetite for Barbados is pretty strong. But if you talk about passion and people talking about sport from their hearts, cricket is the sport that best exhibits that in Barbados. And the football topic or the football culture in Barbados isn't as strong as the cricket culture is. And that's just been so for a long time. That's not to say that football isn't a loved sport, because it is. But nothing can match cricket in Barbados.
Do you think it's almost on autopilot in terms of where football goes?
I wouldn't go that far, but I would suggest that some of the things that happen in football, if they happened in cricket, I don't think the public would digest it as easily. So that's the segment here on the Barbados Football Association elections yesterday, and we'll be back with more football coming up too after the break.